What really happened to Randolph McCoy's nephews, John and Henderson Scott? And were they really his nephews? Why were the brothers attending the trial? And was it a trial? Or was it the McCoys taking their cause to Perry Cline? Come along with us as we dive into the different stories of John and Henderson Scott. All aboard the Kentucky Tennessee Living Time Machine. Please fasten your seatbelts and keep your arms and legs inside of the vehicle at all times. But to get going, we still need your help. We still need to fire up that time machine to transport us. Please help us by clicking on the like, subscribe, and bell notification buttons down below. Not only does this fire up the time machine for our flight back in time, but it convinces the YouTube algorithm that we need a bigger vehicle to reach more people who love history as much as you do. Now, back to our story. The two stories of the trial. There are two versions as to why John and his brother Henderson, Hense Scott, went to the trial for the McCoys. We will give both reasons and let you decide which one was more plausible. According to the Hatfield and McCoy Feud Wikipedia post, the McCoys knew that the Hatfields had been indicted in court for the deaths of Tobert, Farmer, and Bud McCoy. But so far, there were no arrests and no trial. This frustrated the McCoy family, and so they took their case to Perry Cline. The Hatfields got word of this action, and so they planned the ambush against Randolph and his son Calvin during their return home from Cline. According to the Sun article, the McCoys had gone to court for a completely different reason. After the death of Tobert, his estate was now in question. It was now up to Calvin to protect the holdings of his sister-in-law. To establish her rights, Calvin had to file several lawsuits. As we read in Chapter 4, Tobert's widow was being taken advantage of by Tobert's partner, and he was trying to take all of the business and earnings away from her. Knowing that this was going on, the Hatfields found an opportunity to rid themselves of the two McCoy men, since they knew where they were going to be. So, whichever way this actually came about, we do know that Calvin and his father Randolph McCoy was in town to try to seek justice for their family, either by the murder charges or to defend Tobert's widow from financial ruin because of his death. Was John and Henderson Scott murdered? Again, we have two versions of these events. First, let us say that we tried our best to look up both men. There are several John and Henderson Scotts from Mingo County, West Virginia, and Pike County, Kentucky. However, none of the dates of their living or sibling list matched the story. According to the Hatfield and McCoy feud page, we have the following story. It seems that Anse Hatfield ordered his son Cap and other gunmen to stop Randolph McCoy in his pursuit of justice. But instead of hitting their target, they killed John and Henderson Scott. Sam McCoy is not mentioned to be in their company. There are no charges filed against the Hatfields for these alleged deaths. However, Cline was able to use his political connections to reinstate the charges against the Hatfields for the murders of the McCoy brothers. Now, for the Sun's version of the events. It is not clear how the Logan regulators, the Hatfield faction of the feud, heard about the day at court. However, they took advantage of the fact and planned to ambush Randolph and Calvin. We have a listing of the men involved, in which the Wikipedia page does not provide. Supposedly, we have Cap and John Hatfield, Mose Christian, Lee Wilson, Ellison Mounts, Harvey Smith, and Bill Tom Hatfield, all loaded for bear and setting themselves up for the ambush. They even stopped a boy on the side of the road to ask for a description of the McCoys, not thinking that there possibly could be innocent men who matched the description. But were they really innocent according to the Hatfields? It seems that both John and Hense were going to be a witness in the trial against the Hatfields, and this marked them for death. Going forward with the story, the Scotts got to the place in the road, and the bushwhackers opened fire. John Scott was injured when he was shot in the right knee. Henderson and Sam McCoy dove into the bridle path across from the Hatfield position. John was unable to get off the road, and so he played dead on the spot. So many bullets were flying all around him on the dusty road that he was covered in dirt after the shooting had stopped. Evidently, Sam McCoy had his hand on Henderson Scott's right shoulder. Scott was shot, and McCoy felt the shot, but was otherwise uninjured when they dove into the bridle path below the road and hid themselves to keep from being shot further. So, was the Scott brothers killed at this point or not? We simply cannot say for sure. Until more information about the brothers comes online, we simply have to say that both stories are currently plausible. We also traced all of the websites to see what we could find out about the Scott brothers in the McCoy line. We simply could not find their names listed. So for now, we can't even say that they were related to the McCoy family. The two stories do merge after this point in the feud, and we suspect that more information will become available in the future concerning John and Henderson Scott. In next week's video, we will be discussing the attack at the Daniels cabin and what events took place that night. Thank you. Kentucky Tennessee Living would like to thank you for watching our video series on the myths and truths of the Hatfield and McCoy feud. Don't forget to hit that like button, as the more likes we receive, the more likely YouTube is to suggest our videos to other viewers. Also, to receive notice when we upload a new video, be sure to subscribe and click the bell notification button. Please double check to make sure that you are subscribed, as some of our viewers are finding that they are no longer subscribed to our channel. We thank you for continuing to support Kentucky Tennessee Living as we are discovering the mysteries in Appalachian history.